What's good? All right, I'm watching a rideshare professor. An Uber driver drove away with her child. The Uber would not connect her or the police to the driver. Okay, so I don't like. I don't like what I'm not laughing at the situation. The parents are idiots. Watch this video. Watch this video. The news broadcaster was saying that the couple were discussing an exit strategy to get out the car at the drop off. The exit strategy is grab your kids. That's the exit strategy. Not grab a couple of kids and leave one kid in the damn car who's sleeping on the back row. Most drivers have Bluetooth in. It doesn't matter whether the driver speaks good English or no good English. Get all your stuff and get the hell out of the car. It's that simple. What seems to be the problem? She's all hysterical and all of this other stuff. For what? Yeah, because you're an idiot. You're a freaking idiot. Who leaves their kid in a car and they're laying down? It seems like a setup, be honest with you. They need to pull her financial report, find out if she's struggling or whatever, see if she's just trying to get a little lawsuit or whatever for abandoning her child. You don't get to accuse the company, you don't get to accuse a driver or nobody else because you abandoned your child. That's what that is. You abandoned your child. And I really don't understand how the professor is reporting this. He makes it seem like, the driver should have did this or did that. No, shut up, dude. Shut up. Or go to another country, whatever. I don't care what you got to do. Shut up. This is 100% on the parents. 100% on the parents. Because, bro, would you leave your child who's laying down in the back seat in a car? You will wake your child up. Your child tries to lay back down. Get your butt up now. It's time to go. That's simple. It's not complicated. It's not hard. This is a pathetic situation, in a situation where she's trying to go to the news. For what? Again, you a money hungry woman. That's what that is. You just money hungry. Because that's what ultimately what 9 out of 10 you're going to try to go to. Or you that pathetic that you got to, call the company and say, I want a public apology and everything because you abandoned your child in that car. You don't have a right to have any say in anything other than you as a parent. You messed up. You messed up. Who has anybody ever been on a bus and only grabbed a couple of kids and then expected to go back on a bus and grab another kid? No, you grab all your kids. Are you that incompetent that you don't realize that the person maybe has a Bluetooth, maybe they don't speak that good of English, especially if their name is Abdul or whatever, a foreign name or whatever the case is? A lot of drivers, including myself, I've been robbed and carjacked before. I believe that I walked away from that situation because I could not identify the passenger. I couldn't identify the passenger because I never look at the passenger. And I oftentimes have people get in my car and they don't have a car seat. That's every now and then because I don't look at them when they're coming out the door. Sometimes people, they request a ride. And so I'm thinking that they're coming out of the house that I'm in front of, but they come in, get in the car, and they're actually in the house behind me. So I don't know that I actually had how many people that got in the car. I've had people that I pick up 2 people at a stop. I didn't know it was 2 people. Didn't know that it was 2 people. I remember one time it was 2 people got in. One of them got in behind me, but I really did not realize that the person was getting in behind me. And the other person got in because they took too long at the pickup location. They took too long getting in the car. So when the one person got in on one side, I didn't hear the other door opening and I had my Bluetooth in. And so I was getting ready to pull off and she was like, hey, 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 and everything. And I'm like, okay, I didn't realize you were getting in. Most people, when it's 2 passengers, they get in on one side. They don't go one person, walk all the way around the car and then try to get in. They just get in on the same exact side. So I'm not going to point the finger at they're the ones that screwed up or anything. They should have been ready. They should have been standing outside. I would have known how many passengers I was picking up. Or maybe the app maybe they need to start telling us on the app I could look at it all kinds of ways. But at the end of the day, hey, I could have did a better job. I look at it that way. And I look at it that the passengers could have did a better job into getting in the car. But the main focus that I'm focusing here, I can explain other things on that situation. But the main thing I'm focusing here is that you have a mother who abandoned her child who was sleeping on the back row. Did you really think that the driver would know how many people were inside the car if the driver wasn't paying attention? Look, we have a simple job: pick you up, drop you off. Do you pay for pickup? No, you don't. Do we need to care how long it takes you to get in the car or anything else like that? Are we listening to your stupid ass exit strategy? Come on, please, man. This is just pathetic. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? An exit strategy? Who does that? Who in the hell does that? Okay, this is what we're going to do, folks. Okay, so John, you're going to get the bags out of the back. And Sarah, you're going to go ahead and you're going to grab the car seat. And Bob, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And then we're going to get out of here. We're going to be out of here in 3.3 seconds. Yeah, who's with me? Yay! Dude, come on, man. Exit strategy? Grab your kids. If anything is a part of your exit strategy, it should have been all your kids getting out the vehicle at the same time. What was more important? What was more important than getting your kids out? And if your kid is laying down in the back seat, how old was this kid? Because if the kid was able to walk, was old enough to walk, the kid should have got out with you. Now, if they were laying down in the back seat in a car seat or in a booster seat, that's understandable when I hear the term that the kid was laying down. But outside of that, honestly, this is a situation that wouldn't happen if you didn't have irresponsible parents. Get your kids should be the first priority of getting them out of the car in all cases. So why even sit here and try to blame somebody else for that? Now, if you want to try to blame Uber and everything, Uber has a third-party company overseas answering these phone calls. Third-party company. And then the thing is that who leaves their kid in the car? Like, if somebody called me and says the Uber driver drove off out away with my kid, first thing I'd be thinking is, how? How is that possible? How is your kid still in the car? I get people that try to leave their kid in the car and try to run back in the house. That's irresponsible. That is abandoning a child, period. I don't care how anybody publicly who has left their kids in the car before and they want to sit here and say, oh man, no, you're wrong, that is that. No, you should not be leaving your kid with an absolute stranger. That's irresponsible. You don't know if they realize. And number one thing that you need to do, if you're going to do that, which I recommend you don't, but you need to talk to the driver. In this situation, she's talking about, well, we were discussing our exit strategy. Dude, that's so stupid. You're discussing your exit strategy with each other, not the driver. The driver is not obligated to listen to your conversation. The driver is not obligated to listen to your conversation. You literally cannot blame this person because they wasn't listening to you. You're having a private conversation. Many of us, sometimes we don't have our Bluetooth on when the passengers get in, but when we hear passengers talking, we don't want to be involved in that conversation. Most people are talking about stupid stuff and we don't want to listen to it. So we may turn our Bluetooth on. But primarily, it is not our responsibility to get a head count of how many people are getting in our car, how many kids are in the car, or any of that. That's just like that one driver that at the pickup, the drop off, I think it was an Uber driver. At the drop off, the people were taking their slow little time trying to get out of the car and everything, and they wasn't holding one of their kids' hands. They just let the kid run around, and the driver ended up not seeing the kid because the kid wasn't that tall and ended up hitting the kid. This is another situation where the driver should not be at the blame. It's the parents. It is the parents. Could have been getting out of your own car and the kid could have got hit by somebody else. You could have been getting out of a friend's car and the kid could have got hit. It's your responsibility to hold your kid's hand. I know when my daughter, when I take her out of her car seat, and because she can walk, when I take her out of her car seat and put her onto the concrete, I always tell her to grab my shirt, hold my shirt, pull it. If I'm about to reach into the car for anything, I have her hold my shirt, pull it, so I know where she's at all time. Okay, if she lets go of my shirt, I'm gonna know immediately, and I can turn around. But what I do not do is lean back in my car to do anything and let my daughter walk around or anything. She knows to stand right there by the car. She knows to pull my shirt. Again, if she let go, I can immediately turn around and catch that. But this situation is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and the stuff that the professor was saying, it just didn't make any sense. It seems like he's, more or less siding with the passenger, and saying that the driver should have known how many people in his car. How? Why? For what? For what? For what? Where? For what? Where? Pick up, drop off. Pick up, drop off. If the driver looked back and he didn't see anything, again, they said he was what? Third row. Third row. So what are we discussing here? Other than the parents neglected to grab their children at once, developing an exit strategy. You got to be freaking kidding me. One of the main things that really pisses me off about this, when he's playing back the passenger's voice, is she's talking about they brought her back. They brought her back in an ambulance, and she's all hysterical. All right, dude, what kind of sheltered life do you live? What kind of sheltered life do you live to have that kind of moment where you're that freaking weak? Because you're trying to make it seem like it's all on the driver. I'm sorry, but ain't nobody gonna get emotional over this shit. Your kid came back, your kid came back, and your kid came back safe and unharmed, and you're sitting here still traumatically scared as you're talking to the news. Because again, this isn't the lady. Now, if the situation was the lady just contacted the police and then contacted the news, and it was the same half hour or whatever, I can kind of get the hysterical thing at that point. But I can't excuse the hysterical thing when you are being interviewed all after the fact. 9 out of 10 days later. That would be the part where I don't understand how you're still, basically crying, kind of, or whatever. She just expects to get free rides for life. If I was able to identify that woman at a pickup, I'd pull off and leave her. That's simple. I would pull off and I would leave her. Because you're not about to get me caught up in some situation, because you probably didn't devise another scam. And you're not going to do it at my cost. That's not going to happen. But again, like I said, let me backtrack. I get it. The professor's just, going over the video, just showing people what had happened, just in case they didn't see it or whatever. But again, like I said, if you pointing the finger at a driver in this situation, you shouldn't be. You should not be doing that. Like, again, if you ever got robbed or you've ever thought about it could possibly happen to you, the number one thing you should realize is, if you can't identify the person, then they chances are they will not, stab you or shoot you. Have people been shot and killed even though somebody was wearing a mask before? Yeah. But plenty of people have walked away because the person committing the crime couldn't be identified, whether it been a mask or the person being robbed dropped their head and didn't look at the criminal. Again, I walked away from me being robbed and carjacked when I was driving Uber. I walked away from that situation, chances are, because I kept my head down. Kept my head down. It shows that you're afraid. Anybody waving a gun at you, they want you to be afraid. They don't, you trying to act all hard, trying to act like, oh, I ain't scared. You probably gonna get shot. Drop your head, don't look at nothing. And when you got passengers getting in, yeah, of course, if you get robbed or something, you want to be able to tell the police, well, I think he was about 5'9". He was a black African American male, blah, 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 this and blah, blah, that. If you from the hood, you know, you don't look at people. You don't look at people. You got a higher chance of walking away from a situation if you're not looking at them. You if you want to, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying right now. It is what it is, but it is a one of the reasons why some drivers don't know how many passengers got in. They don't know if people got in with kids or got in with their car seat. And matter of fact, let's talk about that. Where's this driver at? Let's see your dash cam. Did they have a car seat? How old was this kid that got in the car? Was the kid 2 or 3 years old? Did they need to be in a booster seat? Did the parents have one? Because it seemed like was at an event or something or a family gathering or whatever, and they had a couple kids with them. Were they in car seats? Because that just shows again that this person neglects their children and they don't care about their kid's safety, even though she's sitting there crying. Oh, I was so scared and the trauma, and my kid has trauma and everything. Dude, you know how many kids walk up to complete strangers? You know how many times kids have gotten abducted because somebody offered them candy and said, I know your mommy and daddy, and come on, get in, ride with me. This is a situation where some little kid is freaking asleep, don't even remember half the shit that went on. So what are we going through on this stuff? If the kid is experiencing trauma, it's because of the mother and her delusions. Probably checking on the kid. Oh my God, are you okay? That is that. The kid is like, wait a minute, what happened? That was the driver that you had us get in the car with. He brought me back. What are you doing? But her being hysterical, that's enough trauma for the kid right there. Now she just coaches the kid into saying that, oh, well, I feel sad. That what happened to me. You know what? When you're throwing it up in the kid, you throw it up in the kid's face for years to come, the kid will start to get negative about the situation and everything. But this sounds like somebody that, oh, my kid went through trauma, so you're going to have to pay pain and suffering. My kid went through trauma, so we need you to write us a check. That's what this sounds like, because it's just pathetic. And then you're talking about because you tried to call Uber and they couldn't contact the driver and everything. Well, first and foremost, do you realize and understand why that is? It's because there are scammers out here that try to scam drivers and they call the driver. Uber's policy is that Uber will never call the driver. They'll never call the driver. The only thing that they can do is they can leave a message in the app in some cases. But that's rare. I've never seen them really do that. It's an automated message that they usually send for other things or whatever. And if you lost something, then you can message the driver. And that's something that she should have did right there. I'm sorry. She should have sent a message to say that usually you just leave a phone. People leave phones in the car. I had one just recently, left a phone in the car. Nobody left a whole human being in the car. All right, so I can elaborate on this all day, but it is what it is. But definitely to the professor, man, come on, man. At least report the situation a little bit better than you have on this video. I'm not trying to attack you, but I think that you really should have been looking at the fact that if someone leaves their phone in the car, that's not the driver's fault. Nobody talks about Uber's policies when they leave a phone in the car. Now you leave a human being in a third seat and the kid is not visible to the driver and everything. You shouldn't be letting your kids lay down in the car anyway. But and then you this whole the one thing that really sticks out and really just really bugs me is the whole say of we were developing an exit strategy. We know the driver heard us. This is one of the dingiest families. You know what I really want to say, but one of the dingiest families in America. In America. And I'm really going to be pissed off if I find that people are commenting on this story and are saying that the driver did wrong and the driver should have did better. Pay attention to the story. Kid was in the third row. The kid was laying down. If he took them a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles, 5 miles, that dude probably started thinking about how little he's getting for the fare and how he's gonna pay his rent. His mind is completely somewhere else. It's on the road. It's on traffic conditions. It's on following the signs and all this other stuff. And on the midst of all of that, the dude is thinking about paying his bills, problems he has in his life, and other things. So even if you had a head count, by the time you got to the drop off, you probably don't remember that, but you always trust and believe that people would remove their kids before anything. Anything. As drivers, that's like the professor coming on here and saying, oh, if somebody went and said, oh, they left a $1,500 phone in the car, and somebody went to the news and stuff, and the professor is sitting here talking about well, you should always look in your back seat. They probably do. But after nobody's leaving anything in your back seat for a while, eventually you stop looking. Or something in life is pulling your mind away from things and you forget to look that one time. Now somebody's Mac notebook is in your car when you pulled off. Now somebody left this or that inside your vehicle and everything. But like I said, man, at the end of the day, this is this situation is definitely not something that I would have blamed the driver on. And so I'm going to go ahead and scroll through some of the comments that were left on the professor's video. If you can, you can go through and you can read the comments and everything. All I know is that could this happen to any driver? Could any driver end up not knowing somebody is in your third row, laying down in sleep? More than anything, I think that drivers in like situations like this, you should be aware of how many people get in, because what if somebody gets in, you pick up a bunch of adults and somebody lays down in the back seat, and when you get home at night, they get out of the car right when you're at the door trying to get in, and then they hold a gun in the back of your head because you never noticed how many people got in. Now you have that one individual with a gun in the back of your head, rapes your wife, robs your house, and steals your car. All because you didn't realize it. So yeah, it is very important for you to count how many people get in the car for your own safety, not to keep track of how many kids are in the car, because the parents should be number one priority. Get them out of the car first. Appreciate you. Please like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next one.